Welcome to another video. Today I want to tell you a simple but powerful story about learning English. This is the story of a young man named Lucas and how he changed his life in only 60 days. Lucas was an ordinary person. He worked in a small office in his city. His job was simple, but he had one big dream. He wanted to work in an international company one day. There was only one problem. Lucas could not speak English well. He knew a few words. He could understand some simple sentences. But when people spoke English, he felt lost. The words moved too fast, and he did not know how to answer. For many years, Lucas told himself the same thing. Maybe one day I will learn English. But that day never came. He was always busy. Work, daily life, small problems, and tired evenings always gave him a reason to wait. Then one day something unexpected happened. Lucas saw a job advertisement online. It was for a better job with a higher salary. The company looked professional and the job seemed perfect for him. But there was one requirement. The job required English communication. Lucas stared at the screen for a long time. Part of him wanted to close the page and forget about it. But another part of him said something different. Maybe this is your chance. After thinking for a while, Lucas made a decision. It was not a perfect decision, but it was a brave one. He applied for the job. In his resume, he wrote something that was not completely true. He wrote that he could speak English. After sending the application, Lucas felt nervous. His heart was beating fast. What did I just do? He thought. Days passed quietly, and Lucas almost forgot about the application. But one morning he received an email. The company invited him for an interview. The interview would be in 2 months. Lucas read the email again and again. 2 months. 60 days. At that moment he understood something very important. If he did nothing, the interview would come and he would fail. But if he used those 60 days wisely, maybe he could change everything. Lucas sat down with a notebook and wrote a big number on the first page. 60 days. Then he wrote a simple promise under it. I will learn English every day. He did not plan to become perfect. He only wanted to become better every day. Lucas started with the basics. The first day he learned simple words like hello. Work, people, speak, learn. End practice. He wrote each word in his notebook and repeated it many times. At first it felt slow and difficult. But Lucas remembered something important. Big progress always begins with small steps. The next day he learned more words. Then he started reading very short English sentences. Simple sentences like, My name is Lucas. I want to learn English. I practice every day. When he spoke these sentences, his pronunciation was not perfect. Sometimes he laughed at his own mistakes. But he continued. Every evening after work, Lucas studied for 1 hour. Sometimes he watched simple English videos. Sometimes he listened to short conversations. Slowly, his ears started to understand the sounds. Little by little, the language stopped feeling strange. After the first week, Lucas noticed something surprising. He could understand more than before. After the second week, he felt a little more confident speaking simple sentences. It was not magic. It was practice. Lucas realized something that many people forget. Learning a language is not about talent. It is about consistency. Small effort every day creates big results over time. So, Lucas continued his routine, day by day, word by word, sentence by sentence. The 60 days had started, and Lucas was determined to use every single one of them. Lucas continued his plan with strong determination. Every morning before going to work, he opened his notebook and reviewed the words he learned the day before. At first, it was not easy. Sometimes he forgot words quickly, and sometimes he mixed them up. But instead of feeling discouraged, he reminded himself of his goal. 60 days. That was the time he had, and he wanted to use every single day. After 2 weeks, Lucas decided to change the way he practiced. He realized that learning only words was not enough. If he wanted to speak English, he needed to use the language, not just remember it. So he started speaking to himself in English. At first it felt a little strange. One evening he stood in front of the mirror and said slowly, "Hello, my name is Lucas. I am learning English." He smiled at himself. His accent was not perfect, but that did not matter. What mattered was that he was trying. From that day, Lucas began to describe simple things around him in English. When he drank coffee in the morning, he said, "This is my coffee." "It is hot." When he walked to work, he said quietly, "The weather is nice today." These sentences were simple, but they helped his brain think in English. Another thing Lucas did was listen to English every day. While traveling to work, he listened to short English conversations on his phone. At first, he understood only a few words. But after some days, he started recognizing more sentences. His ears were slowly learning the rhythm of the language. One night, Lucas had an interesting idea. He decided to change the language on his phone to English. Suddenly, every menu, every notification, and every setting was in English. At first, it was confusing. But this small change forced him to see English many times during the day. Slowly, he became comfortable with the words he saw again and again. 3 weeks passed. Lucas noticed something amazing. He could now read short English texts without translating every word in his head. His mind was becoming faster. He also started writing small paragraphs in his notebook. Simple things like, "Today I worked in the office. I finished my tasks and talked with my colleagues. In the evening, I studied English for 1 hour." These small paragraphs helped him connect words and ideas. Then something unexpected happened at work. One afternoon, a foreign client visited the office. The man spoke English with the team manager. Normally, Lucas would stay silent in these situations. But this time, he listened carefully. He understood some parts of the conversation. Not everything, but enough to follow the topic. This small moment gave him confidence. For the first time, Lucas felt that his effort was working. For weeks had passed. Half of the 60 days were gone. Lucas looked at his notebook one evening. The pages were full of words, sentences, and notes. It was proof of his hard work. But he also knew something important. Understanding English was one thing. Speaking confidently was another challenge. So Lucas decided to practice speaking more. He found an online language partner who also wanted to improve English. They spoke together for 15 minutes every night. At first, Lucas felt nervous. Sometimes he searched for words and paused for a long time. But the other person was patient. Slowly, conversation became easier. Day by day, Lucas felt a change inside his mind. English was no longer a strange language. It was becoming part of his daily life. The interview date was getting closer. Only a few weeks remained. Lucas knew he still had a lot to learn. But he also knew something very important now. When you practice every day with patience and focus, progress always comes. And Lucas was ready to continue his journey until the very last day. As the interview day became closer, Lucas felt both excited and nervous. Only a few weeks were left from the 60 days. He knew he had improved a lot, but he also knew he was still learning. Instead of worrying, Lucas focused on one simple rule: practice every day. Each morning he reviewed his vocabulary. During the day he tried to think in English. In the evening he watched simple English videos and practiced speaking. But the most important thing Lucas learned was this: mistakes are part of learning. Sometimes he said a sentence wrong. Sometimes he forgot a word in the middle of speaking. In the past, this would make him feel embarrassed. Now he simply smiled and tried again, because he understood something important. Every mistake was helping him grow. About 10 days before the interview, Lucas started preparing for common interview questions. He searched online and wrote some simple answers in English. Questions like, "Tell me about yourself. Why do you want this job? What are your strengths?" Lucas practiced answering these questions out loud. At first, his answers were slow. He needed time to think about the right words. But after repeating them many times, his sentences became smoother and more natural. The 60 days were almost finished. One evening, Lucas sat quietly and looked at the first page of his notebook. On that page, he had written a big number, 60 days. Under it was the promise he made to himself: "I will learn English every day." Lucas smiled. He had kept his promise. Maybe his English was not perfect, but it was much better than before. More importantly, he was no longer afraid of the language. Finally, the day of the interview arrived. Lucas woke up early in the morning. He reviewed his notes one last time and took a deep breath. Just do your best, he told himself. When he arrived at the company office, he felt nervous, but he also felt ready. The interviewer greeted him and the conversation began. At first, Lucas spoke slowly, but after a few minutes he relaxed. He answered the questions clearly and used the English. He had practiced for 60 days. Sometimes he searched for a word, but he did not panic. He simply explained his idea with simple sentences. The interview lasted about 30 minutes. When it finished, the interviewer smiled and thanked him. Lucas walked out of the building feeling proud. No matter what the result would be, he had already achieved something important. 2 months earlier, he was afraid of speaking English. Now he had just completed an entire interview in English. A few days later, Lucas received an email. The company offered him the job. Lucas could hardly believe it. His 60 days of hard work had changed his life. But the biggest lesson was not only about English. The real lesson was this: when you practice a little every day, when you stay patient, and when you refuse to give up, amazing things can happen. Learning a language is not about being perfect. It is about being consistent. Just 1 hour a day can create a big change over time. So, if you want to learn English, remember Lucas. Start small. Practice daily. Do not fear mistakes. And, most importantly, believe that you can improve. Thank you for watching this video. Keep learning, keep practicing, and keep moving forward. Goodbye for now, and see you in the next video.